very good morning once again. If you're just tuning in, we had an interesting discussion of videos and what Niroshan and I were talking about, our favorite stuff as well. But it's all about motivation today, getting motivated and getting stronger, alright? Especially on a very, very good morning just like today. So without further ado, I will introduce my next guest, who is a phenomenal personality, and I'm incredibly proud of the fact that we will be having him on the show today. He is none other than Mr. Dhananjay Hettiarachchi, who is actually ranked amongst the top 100 speakers in the world by the Toastmasters International 2011 and 2012. Sir, please come on over here. It's an absolute pleasure having you on board.
Pleasure's mine, Banu. Thank you so much.
Come on, sure, sir.
Pleasure's mine.
So to begin with,
yes.
How did this begin? You are actually a legend right now. Everyone talks about you. Especially before you entered the studio, we were like, he's coming.
Okay.
Yeah?
All right. But I wouldn't call myself a legend yet, but
we would.
Thanks. I got a following, and you know, I think it comes from the fact that I love what I do. You know, if you ask me the question, when did this all start, I'd probably have to go back to college. You know, I'm an old boy of St. Thomas's College, Mount Lavinia, very proud to say that. And I can remember we had this amazing personality, Warden Neville the Elvis. And I can still remember as a young kid, when I was in school, we used to have assembly, and he used to deliver his speeches.
Okay.
And I could remember as a kid, I used to look at that and I said, you know, when I grow up, you know, I want to be like this man. I want to inspire and touch people's lives. And I think that's probably the start of the journey.
And that was a stepping stone to something huge.
It was. I mean, it really, you know, ignited something. And I think this is the start of any dreamer. You know, I think if you look at anyone who's achieved anything in life, it's started with some sort of a spark. And I think that was my spark.
So basically you have had your dream since you were a child.
I have. I mean, look, I think it's very important to distinguish, and I think a lot of us talk about achieving dreams, the difference between a dream and a fantasy.
Okay.
I think there is a point in anyone's life where when that vision first comes into your mind, there is this very dim possibility that it will happen. And I think when you realize that, you know, I could be like this, it no longer remains a fantasy, but really it becomes a dream that you can accomplish.
Okay, this might sound a little cliche, but I'm just going to ask anyways. A lot of motivational speakers are supposedly be perfect, and who challenges everyone and be like, you know, I'm right. Yeah, but don't you get demotivated sometimes? Because life sometimes is unfair. Most of the time it's unfair. So a fair question would be, do you get demotivated by sometimes in life what it offers you?
All the time.
Okay.
You know, I think challenges are pretty much there in anyone's life, no matter how successful you become.
Yeah.
And I think the more successful you are, the bigger the challenges. But you know, the trick is surrounding yourself with people that really are able to motivate you. You know, every day, I mean, you ask how you start your morning, and you know, I wake up to my beautiful wife. You know, and you know, when I see her smile every day in the morning, you know, nothing else matters, and that's so important. I go to work, I got my team with me. I work with a lovely group of people that are always waiting to achieve the impossible. I come back home, you know, I've got my friends who are equally progressive, equally trying to achieve things that are not in the normal sense achievable. So 24 hours a day, I surround myself with positive people. So there are times when I feel down, when I feel, you know, I can't achieve my next goal, but you know, the people around me are able to just grab me by the collar and pull me up to my real self, my true potential, and
put you exactly in the right path.
That's right.
Happiness.
And that's so important. No one in this world is you know, invincible. You could be Bill Gates, you could be Steve Jobs. Everyone has their lows, but the trick is, when you are at that low point, who's around you? And if you surround yourself by people that say, look, this is not you, pull your socks up and get back on the bandwagon, then you have the right people around you. But if you surround yourself by people who are negative, and when you're negative, they say, yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right, you cannot achieve that. I mean, don't even try it. Be happy with what you have. You've come a long way, so just stop achieving. You know, and you start to believe that. because you're so vulnerable at that point, and that's when you give up on your dream.
So you actually kind of mix up with all the good people who gives you positive vibes. And is it fine to just go along and have party time with all the crazy freaks out there? Because there are so many friends who are like, ask you to, hang out with you and go absolutely crazy. It's fine, it's as long as possible.
It's like this. I'm a fun-loving guy, man.
Okay.
I mean, look, I'm from the new generation.
We kind of knew that.
So I'm not an extreme person. It's like I'm not. Okay, you're idle. You got to behave a certain way. You got to be goody two shoes all the time. I don't believe that. I believe in being free. I go out with my friends all the time. We party. But the trick is, who am I going out with? And we have like a couple of guys who looks at the time and said, look, it's 11 o'clock, guys night finishes at 11:30 because all of our wives are waiting back at home. And that's like, we got to get back home before 12 because boss is waiting. So it's all a matter of who you do it with. But then you get the other extreme where you go out for a good time and you lose all sense of your responsibility, and you just get into a bad situation. So once again, it's okay to have fun, as long as you know who you're hanging out with and have your boundaries.
Okay, so do you have a particular personal story to your life?
Yeah.
You've told that you've had opinion leaders or endorsers who've been there from childhood of yours,
right.
who you actually idolize and looked up to. This is my hero. Apart from that, would you consider, if you look back at your life, do you see those turning points right now?
I see a lot of turning points.
Example?
I can remember. Let me tell you something very important, right? When I was a kid, we had several, in school, we had this culture of forming little gangs, right? And, if you wanted to get into a gang, you had to know a certain password, or you needed to be connected to someone. I despised that. I was like a rebel all the way. When you look at the corporate sector in Sri Lanka, if you look at any place around the world, it's a gang. And you need to be a certain way, you need to dress a certain way, you need to behave a certain way to be a part of this gang.
Okay.
Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. And I was always a rebel. And because of that, I got into a lot of trouble.
Okay.
I was first arrested when I was 18 years old for aggravated assault and battery. I can remember my mom walked into the police station, held the bars, looked at me and said, "Son, did I raise you to be this?" And that's how I started my life. But at that point, I realized something very important. I realized that I needed to change. And when you're achieving your dream, it gets worse before it gets better. And I could remember that was the lowest point in my life. But when I hit that, something amazing happened. I met people. For example, a couple of people like Arunachalam Balraj, several other Anton Samarsingers. They're all in my speeches. All these people, at my worst, saw something in me when no one else could, and they said, "Son, this is all temporary, but we see something." And that was such an amazing feeling, because at the lowest point of your life, when someone is able to see something in you, that's life changing. So I've had several people in my life, from starting out as a teen to my corporate life to going out on my own, becoming a trainer and a speaker. Whenever I have been defeated, whenever I was at my lowest, there were people that really saw something in me and were able to pull me out.
Okay, now Mr. Hettiarachchi, you are among the top 100 speakers in the world. It's a great achievement to enjoy.
Yeah.
Would you talk your way out of anything?
Well, I don't say I can talk myself. I mean, I don't think I can talk my way out of anything. But what I want to do is I want to talk my way into the lives of people. Okay. I think that's what I want to do. I think I've been blessed with an amazing gift. Sri Lanka is an amazing country to be in. That's why I'm here. And I think there's a whole generation of people like us who wants to use their skills and talent to motivate young people. But here's the trick: no matter how much of motivation I do, no matter how much of speeches I do, that's just the spark. And what a lot of people have to realize is that they need to grab that spark, surround themselves by people who fill that spark, and actually ignite on their own. So I mean, speakers and motivators can't do all of that for you, but they could give you the spark.
So the spark, you mean to say, is there any particular help or an aid that you could actually give the audience, especially because they might be wondering how to be you exactly.
Right.
You're sitting here and you're talking, and you are in this position right now.
That's
where you can actually give a lot of speeches like this.
Okay.
But how to start and where to start?
I'll probably give you 3 things.
Okay.
And I think these 3 things, if you get it right, you can't go wrong. I think number 1 is you need to stop doing what you're doing right now.
Stop doing what you're doing right now.
Stop doing what you're doing right now.
Okay.
And just sit back and think, does this make me happy? You know, does this make me happy?
Okay.
If it doesn't make you happy, you got to stop. And you got to go on a small quest, a journey of discovery. And what happens is when you take that leap from stopping what you're doing that makes you unhappy and go on that quest, you will meet people just like you who are on the same journey.
Exactly.
And then when you meet, when you talk, you build relationships, and you're moving with a group of people that are in your frequency. And this is the second point, association. Associating people who are like you, who are in the same wavelength, who are in the same journey. Number 3, and probably the most important point, is never, never, never give up. Because there's a very famous saying, the night is the darkest before the dawn.
The dawn, yes.
Right? And this is so true. I mean, in my life, in the lives of the people I know, I mean, whatever you do, just never give up. Because, you know, one of the things, if I could give you one characteristic that separates great people from just good people, is the intestinal fortitude they have. I mean, just tremendous. I mean, I know a couple of my friends who've gone through hell, but they've had this fortitude in their gut that allows them to get up and fight back. So I think if you look at these 3 things, do things that make you happy, surround yourself by people that support you, and finally never give up, it'll happen. It'll happen. But I know a lot of the guys. I mean, a lot of people look and say, "My God, you know, my parents want me to be an engineer. My parents want me to be an accountant. I can't disappoint my parents." That's okay, because that's love. You know, I have a son who's 1 month old now, and when I look at him, I'm like, "Don't do anything crazy. Don't do what Daddy did." You know, I would like you to just pass your exams and get a good job. You know, but then I realized, my God, that's because I love my kid. But you got to see past that. You got to take some effort to convince your parents, take some effort to convince your teachers, and show that, you know, I want to explore. I want to take that risk. And believe me, life starts at 40.
Life starts
at 40.
Okay.
Right? So I haven't even started my life.
Okay.
So you could do whatever you want until 40. That's my rule. And you get serious when you're 40.
Okay. Now, Mr. Hettiarachchi, how do you stay motivated? It just motivates all of us to have you here at the show. But how do you stay motivated?
How do I stay motivated? I think it's a very, very important question. You know.